Shalom Israel. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Barakatham to the Akim. Yahweh Shamar Alathah Ba'ashem Yahushai to the Akwathium. I am Captain Azania, Captain of 10,000 of the ISUPK Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York City, New York, since 1969. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth of this Bible, okay? The absolute truth and what it all entails, and specifically that it is for us, a specific group of people. That specific group of people, the so-called Negro, the so-called West Indian, the so-called Haitian, the so-called Hispanic, the so-called Natives, the so-called Latinos, so-called Indigenous, specifically of North, Central, and South America, um, through the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, we are scattered across the four corners of the earth, but heavily concentrated here in the Americas, the hell of the Americas, as it was prophesied in the Bible. Okay, and being that we are the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people, He commanded us to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of His Bible. In the ISUPK, we are the priests and prophets of the Most High, to bring our people back to the Most High, and doing so by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and following our King, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Yahweh Shai Mashiach, whom the world mistakenly calls Jesus Christ. His name is Yahweh Shai, okay? And the name of the Most High is Yahweh. Yahweh is the name of the Most High God, the Almighty, all right? The Most High power. And established all these things, and that is why we are here. That is why we teach, and that is why I'm teaching scripture breakdown class. So if you have any questions pertaining to the scriptures or current events or topics relating, so please feel free to ask. Okay, just checking here. Thank you for your patience, everybody. We ask if there's questions in the classroom, and then if there's no questions in the classroom, questions online. Okay, trying to make it interactive. I titled I titled tonight's class Prom Extravaganza, the send-offs. Okay, are they too elaborate? I'm going to play a clip from Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock is a big-time Uncle Tom coon. Okay. Big-time Uncle Tom coon, okay, who bashes his own people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And he had a video where he spoke about the prom send-offs and the extravaganza of them. Okay, and we'll go into that. We'll pull that video up. Let's see here. All right. We'll go into that. We'll also, let's see. Also, I wanted to talk also about sweat equity. I don't know if many people heard of that. Sweat equity, that is basically the 14th Amendment. Okay, is it the 13th or 13th Amendment, where the abolishing of slavery is the abolishing of slavery was conducted in America through the 13th Amendment. I'll pull that up. However, unless through the penal system. Okay, all right. And straight up, I think it was the prosecutor in a trial of a young black man, okay, stated to the judge, it will be more beneficial than to put him on the death penalty, to have him work in a prison, to pay into it and to feed the prison industry. All right. Thank y'all for your patience. I'm trying to find this one clip. Mm. I don't know if y'all heard that, boy. This guy is a sick bastard. This Jason Whitlock. But what I'll do. Okay, while I'm looking for that, what I'll do is I'll go into the sweat equity. Okay. Okay. I'll go into the sweat equity. Oh. I was looking for the precept about the snare. But let me play this, everybody. I'm gonna play this clip here. All right. I'm not exactly familiar with the whole story, but this young man here, this brother right here, Sean Gathright, okay, he's being sentenced for unaliving a rapper named Julio Fulio, and and during the sentencing, I want y'all to hear what was said. Okay.
And don't forget to hype me up, gang.
And based on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think that?
Do you hear that? She said, based on Mr. Gathwright's age and physical ability, this sounds like a slave auction. This is a slave auction. This is modern day slavery. Okay. All right. What it is it's a trap. There is a trap that's set by this society this society, and I'm going to bring this out more when I talk about the prom thing that Jason Whitlock talks about. Okay. Black people brought here on slave ships, right? Were brought here on cargo slave ships with nothing. They were stripped of everything. They were slaughtered. They were unalived. Genocide. Okay. Totally destroyed, obliterated, put into a system here in America to continue their enslavement and their oppression. All right. Because of their slavery and oppression, it continues to allow them. It continues to allow them to direct us the ways that they want us to be directed. Okay. Thank y'all for that patience. Let me see here. Okay. So, not saying that he's taking off the hook for unaliving somebody, right, for the crime that he's committed, or that we're taking off the hook for crimes that we commit, especially when we are to acknowledge that the Most High has chosen us to be a greater people than everybody else on the face of the earth. Deuteronomy chapter 7 says that, I'm just paraphrasing, that thou art holy and a special people above all nations. Okay. And that's what he does when he gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. That he didn't consider the other nations, that they were specific to us to make us holy unto him, meaning holy, meaning separate from the world, from the other nations, and close to the Most High God. That's why in the New Testament, in the book of Peter, it says what? You are a royal priesthood. All right? A chosen people, a royal priesthood. Okay? You have something that nobody else has. And that is what the solution should focus on, but nobody focuses on that in the solution. All right. Okay? We'll continue to bash the impoverished, the poor, the downtrodden, the ignorant, the foolish, the child. Okay? It's like let me give you an example of how we are in this society here in America under the oppression of the so-called white man. I'll give you an example. You take your child is 4 or 5 years of age. You take your child to a fast food restaurant, McDonald's, okay? And you feed that child McDonald's. Their taste buds will get heightened because of the sugars and the salts in McDonald's, okay? And this becomes a gratification. Now that they have McDonald's, now you are downtrodden and oppressed to where you got to go and work a slavery, okay? You got to go and work hard. You got to travel to the job, okay? You got to travel home from the job, all right? Now, before that, you have to make sure that the children get to where they're supposed to get, that they're dressed and clothed and taken care of. All the time, meanwhile, you got to go and back-breaking labor or in some slave quarters, cubicles, whatever it may be. You got to go through all of this, right? Okay. And then because you want your children to be better than what society has for them, for what America or your community or your city has for them, you'll put them in after-school programs, educational programs, all right, sports programs. You'll do that, which elongates the time, okay, that you are away from home. And that makes more time, busy time for you. All right. So with so much busy time and activity going on, what do? You're going to go back to McDonald's and get the food for the child, right? Okay. Now, when you don't have in your mind to go to McDonald's, that's not on your schedule for the day. You're driving in the car and the child is in the car, and based off of habit, the child is going to ask, what for dinner? Can we get McDonald's for dinner? You are going to respond because of what your parents taught you in this oppression, because of what your mind can develop half. You're not even really thinking of what you say to the child, but you say to a 5-year-old child, do you have any McDonald's money? Knowing that the child doesn't have money for McDonald's, right? But you say that to the child, okay? You take it out on the child in the sense, you saying something to a child as if a child should have the responsibility and accountability not to even ask for McDonald's, which they're fed all throughout the week, every night, every day. And then they got the audacity to ask, can we have McDonald's? I want you to think of that, because your response or the parent's response is, you got any McDonald's money? You ain't got no money for McDonald's. So eat what you going to eat. Y'all hear that, right? Okay. It's just like the discipline structure that we have for our children. It comes from our slavery. A lot of times it comes from our enslavement. The extensive beating of children, that comes from us being beat by who? By our parents, who were beat by their parents, who were beat by their parents, who were beat by slave masters, by crackers, those that would come along and crack the whip. Right? And if a slave get out of line and say, can we get some water? Can we have something to eat? They would get beat for it, or yelled at, or ridiculed. You got any? This is my food. This is my food. What you got to give me for the food that I give you? That translates and comes down. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because there is a deeper picture here. There is something greater that we're not looking at or considering. And we don't want to consider it because we don't want to offend our slave master, right? When you tell that child, you got McDonald's money, that's America. Telling Black people, you need to just get yourself up by your bootstraps. Why don't you just figure it out? Why don't you just do it? Why you act the way you act? All the while, they push McDonald's on every billboard, every commercial, right? They influence. This is just an example. I'm not saying don't go eat at McDonald's. I'm just using it as an example. Now, you see the commercial for McDonald's, and it's a hip hop commercial, and it's all you. So now you being told you're not supposed to do something, but at the same time, you're told that you're supposed to do it. On the way to class right now, my mother was so offended. I was embarrassed. My mother was so offended by somebody sitting at the light, all their windows down, and they're playing music. Okay? And the song, can you open that curtain for me, Baba Kashaw? Wow. Wow. The song lyrics was playing over the beat, over a club beat in 808. Excuse my language. Bear with me. The song lyrics were, Shake that ass, bitch, like your friends do. Shake that ass, bitch, like your friends taught you. And throughout the whole song, he's just saying, shake your ass, bitch. Shake your ass, bitch. And then there's a lyric that says, take them kids and have your grandmother watch them so that you can come over here and shake that ass, bitch. Who you think was driving the car? Who was driving the car? Who was listening to that song of Shake Your Ass Bitch? That song is going to be a hit song in the club because the club is going to be 90% women. The club is going to be filled with 90% women who's going to hear that song and they're not going to go, DJ, cut that song. That's disrespectful. That's wild. We won't cancel that. They're not going to say that. They're all going to jump and run to the dance floor and shake their ass, bitch. And their girlfriends are going to shake their ass with them and even smack their behinds and dance on them so that the 10% of men that are in there are sexually aroused and enticed. And now they're all half naked. The reason why I'm bringing that up with this is because it's all structured. It's called systematic oppression. This young man is taught by America to be a particular way. So much that if this young brother tells his mother and his grandmother, let's say this brother gets a flyer from the ISUPK and saw a camp. His grandfather or his uncle, he goes to them and say, I saw the ISUPK. Look at this. And they see our videos, they most likely would tell him not to join the ISUPK, which is systematic. They've been trained and taught that. Black people aren't doing what black people do because we want to do it. It's been trained and taught to us. It's a system. Do you think that in 1865, 1866, and 1867, when the 13th Amendment was written into law, the abolishing of slavery, except through the penal system, do you think that was just a coincidence? Is that something that just going to happen? Like, oh, we just threw that in there. Or is it systematic? I want y'all to hear what the prosecutor said. They hate you so much that they don't even just go to the death penalty or eye for an eye. They'll say, look at him, he's young. Woo! That should send chills through people's bodies. Through black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That should send chills through you to hear this person say, nah, don't give him the death penalty. Let's see what we can do to get what we can get out of him. He's physically capable. It is 2026. And she said, he is physically, look at his age, he's young. Not eye for an eye. Look at his age, he's young. Let's get 40 years out of him. Working in a sweatshop, in a cotton field, building furniture, building automobiles. Came out about what, 8 years ago? They had a list of all these grocery stores and restaurants that use prison labor. All of them do. Because it's free labor. And all that marching, man, I'll get to that next. Because y'all done marched for the vote. And y'all seeing it. And I saw the brother, what's the brother name with the afro down in Tennessee? He was a young brother in Tennessee with a big afro. He's a politician. Boy, he said, we the people. Woo! We the people. That was written in the Constitution. He started going off. And get the whole crowd. And, we the people. You know that's a black saying. We the people is a black saying. Don't that sound like it's black? We the people. We need to be part of the Constitution. We need to vote. Vote, vote. I heard Steve Harvey today. And if you don't vote, whoo, you part of the problem. You need to vote. We got to stop Trump. We got to stop these Republicans. Vote, 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 vote. I've always wondered if the same people who write something into law are the same people that can take it out of the law. But you know which law never changes? You know what law never changes? See, it's systematic. You taught about white Jesus and Christianity, and you taught that the law is done away with when it comes to the Bible. Black men don't need to be militant. We need to be soft because that's systematic oppression. We need to be gangbangers. That's systematic oppression. Republican, Democrat, that is systematic oppression. Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, that is systematic oppression. Christianity or Islam, that is systematic oppression. Listen to this again.
That the prison would benefit on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical.
Hype me up, gang.
And based on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think?
Physical abilities, things like that. I wonder if he's scrunching his eyes because he's like, what? Right. His age and physical abilities, yeah. The brother that's behind him. But you never know. Because he could be like Jason Whitlock. Could be like the blacks on the police force. It could be like the black Republicans and black Democrats that truly hate their own people.
And based on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think that the prison would benefit from him in a work?
Do you think that the prison would benefit from him? Barakatah Yahweh Shai for the ISUPK. Because now you are going to hear things that you thought you would never hear. You thought you would never see it. You thought that these things could not exist because you gotten so comfortable in America. America, this 4th of July, based on its independence, 1776, July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence, written by the forefathers of the devils of America, right? Those devils sat there and wrote up their constitution and independence from Britain and all other countries associated. They disconnected themselves and said, we are now independent. That was 1776, July 4th. It is 2026, and it is going to be July 4th. It is going to be 250 years. And you know what? Slavery in America is older than their own independence. Slavery in America is older than the independence of America. You being hung from a tree, the slaughter of the Native Americans, the burning down of Native American villages, them taking the women and children and stripping them naked in the cold so that they froze to death, gave them smallpox, starved them. There's a city 2 hours away called Buffalo, New York. You drive into Buffalo, New York, you see statues of buffaloes where the real buffaloes used to be. There's no buffaloes in Buffalo, New York. There once was buffaloes in Buffalo, New York. You know what the white man did? You know what he did? He drove all the buffaloes up to a high cliff and pushed them off the cliff. He slaughtered all the buffalo to take away from the food, the resources of the buffalo that was utilized by the Native American, to cut them off from the Native Americans so that the Native Americans no more can exist, so that they would starve and freeze. And you know what the white man did? He named the city Buffalo. That's before the independence of America. Your oppression in slavery is older than Thomas Jefferson's independence, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And you are God's chosen people. But when I say it, oh my goodness, you're going to see it now unfold. You're not going to have any choice. Thank God Donald Trump won the presidency. Niggas is scared. You didn't vote? Oh man, what we going to do? He pushing that 2025 project. Trump going to get us all locked up and kicked out. We told you the white man was the devil and turned to the Most High God. But you know what you did? Let's go vote. And the niggas marched and fought for the vote. And look, they took your votes away. And you standing there on the state senate or the state's capitals, and you up there, we the people. We part of the Constitution too. Where? This is your part of the Constitution of America. Remember, slavery in America is 500 years old. The independence of America is 250 years old. Wow. Slavery in America is 500 years old. The slaughter of Native Americans is 500 years old. The pillaging and burning down, the grape, all that is 500 years old. And you want to be part of the Constitution. That's 250 years old. When you have your own law right here, your own laws, statutes, and commandments. You can't even conceive yourself separating from those people who are your enemy that the Bible tells you to separate from. Because they'll look at your young men and say, now, Your Honor, with his age and his physical stature and his physical ability, don't you think that the prisons could utilize this? Can't they use this? It's called the private sector. The private sector owns the prisons. You know who else owns the prisons? Come here, y'all. Come here. Let me tell you who owned the prison. Michael Jordan. Is that a coincidence? Def Jam. Nike, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Went to Malcolm X Day in Rochester. These Negroes were sitting up there talking about AI. And we got to get involved with AI because it's going to overtake us. And the AI and the robots and the robots and the robots is coming. And we got to teach it. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with teaching computer science and computer literacy to our children and to our adults. Then we should. We should understand the times and how everything operates. That's wonderful. But the way that we thinking about the robots as if the robots aren't being directed by a human being. A robot can't move without a human being pushing the button. AI can't exist without a human being. It's called artificial intelligence, right? Okay. Let's show the white man that's the devil, right? Okay. It's going to be hard to find probably. Because they're not bad guy people for some reason. Y'all think they ain't bad. And the articles of them doing something horrible that vanishes. It was the teacher took the images of the girls. To create fake, right? Dang, that ain't even the same one. About 20 articles popped up. Bunch of white men just popped up. Damn. White teacher in the Syracuse region, central New York area, who my goodness, the white man is disgusting. I'm trying to find that school district. What school district was that? It was a coach, right? Here it is. I found the article. 12-year-old girls. Is this him? Yep, that's him. Look at the devil. Let me share this tab, y'all. It's Syracuse.com. Just real quick, y'all. Because we sitting there going, oh my gosh, AI going to take our jobs. AI they're going to take our images and they're going to make us commit a crime and then make it look like that. And they're going to lock us all up. AI is coming. You know what the white man is doing with AI? He's doing exactly what he wants to do with artificial intelligence. What is AI called? Artificial intelligence. Meaning what? What does artificial mean? What does artificial mean? Something that's a substitute. That's not organic. That's not real. You ever have a soda or orange soda? It's artificial orange. A grape soda is artificial grape. Right? Central New York coach used AI and photo of 12-year-old girl to make porn video, deputies said. Chad R. Snow, 42, of Camillus, was charged Wednesday, April 14, 2026, with promoting a sexual performance by a child and possession of a sexual performance by a child. Camillus, New York. New details have emerged about a 42-year-old Camillus man who deputies say used artificial intelligence to create an explicit video of a minor. Chad R. Snow, who teaches basketball skills to youths and adults, was arrested Wednesday on several child pornography charges, according to the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office. A criminal complaint obtained by Syracuse.com. The Post Standard and more information in the Sheriff's Office detailed what the coach is accused of doing. Snow took an image of a 12-year-old girl he knows and used AI to put her face on the body of a person in a pornographic video. Disgusting. Disgusting. This is horrible, right? Investigators found other photos of individuals 14 to 30 years old that Snow used to create sexually explicit photos and videos, according to Thomas Newton. This is horrible and disgusting. Snow is a coach, consultant, and trainer for Snow Basketball Arts. It's a basketball coach. Okay? Let me go back to this. But I say that to say this. Okay. So artificial intelligence, we gotta be more spiritual as a people. I'm not saying that it doesn't translate into physical, because that's the whole point. Right? Okay. We gotta be more in tune with the scriptures, the Bible, and living according to it. We really have to engulf ourselves in this book and keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments as the solution. Black people keep yapping. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, organization after organization after organization, religion after religion after religion after religion, with no solution. Let's have a meeting. Meetings, lectures, functions, and we're not translating anything because those things are not solution-based. Those are artificial. Those are just as artificial as artificial intelligence. Meaning this: there is a man behind artificial intelligence. That is the point. There is something behind artificial intelligence. The white man is behind artificial intelligence. It's a computer program. I'm watching Bible stories on YouTube, and they use AI, and they using social media content creators' faces. They had Saul from the tribe of Benjamin. I swore that was Denzel Washington. It was Denzel Washington playing the part on YouTube. I'm watching a full movie, a Denzel Washington movie. And Denzel Washington didn't play that. It was artificial intelligence because somebody put it through the computer program. That's all that it is. Stop thinking that everything is so goddamn spooky. Donald Trump and the White House talking about UFOs and the spaceships and woo, and the moon stuff again. And niggas is sending me clips of, remember they interviewed Bud Lightyear and who else? Aldridge, and who else was it? All the people that went up there on Apollo 13, they really didn't go on the moon. See, we told you. Who the hell cares? Nigga, you ain't going to the moon. You get ready to do 60 years in Attica. Because the system is created to keep you destroyed. Who's behind the system? Who is the mind behind the machine? You niggas is Wizard of Oz. You Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion. Remember they get to the Oz? Wizard of Oz? Remember that? And it's the big green head and the fire behind it. Oh my gosh. Oh, please, can we have? And it's an old man standing behind the curtain, operating the machine. It's still the same to this day. work capacity, life. Meaning, while he's incarcerated for the rest of his life, the prison can benefit off of him. Don't you think that, Your Honor? I guarantee you would never see this with the white man standing there before the judge. Right or wrong? You would never ever. George Zimmerman didn't have, I didn't hear that. George Zimmerman, the cops that unalived George Floyd, all these bastards, murderous bastards, they go to court. I've never heard, I would never hear that. You're never going to hear that. You go to court for something light, right? And you know what your attorney will tell you in court? You know what your attorney will tell you in court? Or somebody who really knows about the legal system. Do you know what they really would tell you? What they're going to tell you about court? The judge and the plaintiff, the judge and your attorney, they're all the same. The correctional officer and the warden, they're family. They're all connected. The police and the sheriff, they're all connected. You sitting down watching a movie and you thinking that the FBI and the local police, they can't stand each other. The sheriffs and the troopers, they hate each other. This is my crime scene, John. You're out of your jurisdiction. You watching that movie and you think, oh, white people be beefing with each other. Ku Klux Klan and the neo-Nazis must not like each other. The COs and the cops, they don't get along. She asked the judge a question, and the judge said, yeah, I do think that it should be done that way. As a former warden, the judge is a warden. Two weeks ago, I said, stop smoking weed. All you niggas in Syracuse got on me and said, stop drinking alcohol. Y'all drunk. Weed ain't bad. Stop it. I ain't never going to come on your page again. And said lies. Captain Azania, we seen y'all dragging niggas out of y'all school drunk. For weed. For weed. You nigga can't put down a fucking blunt. Excuse my language. That enraged me. You just can't put the blunt down and say, I ain't smoking no more. You know what? I'm going to sacrifice this. Because the judge, once he get a hold of me on it, he can't have nothing. He can't hold me to it. Because the judge is the warden. Your parole officer is the plaintiff. Is the prosecutor, excuse me. The district attorney, all of them are the same. All of them are together. You think she is not intelligent enough as the prosecutor? She don't know who she's talking to? She knew exactly what the judge would respond and say. Warden, jail administrator. He's someone that's what? Young? Woo! In reality, we need that labor. Why he passed them bills? What did he do? Pass the law so you can smoke weed in the street? right? Hey, remember he passed that? You thought you was comfortable in America. You just comfortable in America. You an American now. Somebody said, Cap, I owe you a plate, man. I owe you a plate. I see you passing out that food to the people. I owe you a plate. I said, oh man, when can I get the plate? What he said? 4th of July. He said, don't worry about it, Cap. I looked at him. He saw how I looked at him because I'm like, 4th of July. He said, Captain, don't you worry about it. I put pork on one grill and beef on the other grill. I keep them completely separated. I said, it's the 4th of July. You know how to, it's the, you still keeping the 4th of July? You love America. Because America loves you being a hoe. America loves you being high. America loves you. They want that for you. That is systematic oppression. How about we get rid of all of America ways? The Bible talks about in Revelation chapter 18, Babylon, I'm just paraphrasing. Don't associate with her and her sins and her wickedness. Come out of her, my people. That's what the Most High commands us to do. You think you can fix black people by voting? Voting? I'm talking to my officers about Syracuse. Well, what can we do with this? Oh man, they beat that brother up, but that brother did such and such and such and such. Oh, they got rid of the commissioner of education. Yeah, man, maybe we should go and fight for her. And I go, yeah, we should fight for her, but I did just see her buy some blunt wraps. If I go and fight for you, can you put a goddamn blunt down? Oh, this brother, he be up and down the streets, protesting and marching in the streets. He is high out of his goddamn mind. I'm going to walk into the courthouse with this nigga? You on your 5th baby daddy. You passing the coochie around all over the place. I'm going to go protest with you? When you can't just sacrifice closing your legs? Nobody can do nothing, I guess. Because that is what America wants for you. It's called systematic oppression, systematic racism. It's not just the Ku Klux Klan burning a cross in your lawn. The brother is crying now because he's realizing, damn, they don't even want to hear the case. They just, he said, yep, he's young. This is not a movie. This is a real court proceedings. We need that labor. The tribe of Judah, when the Issacharites, when the Mexicans first was getting deported, remember when they first was getting deported? Y'all stood up and said, that ain't got nothing to do with me. They is taking our jobs. So why they putting them in ICE facilities? Hello? Why they putting them in detention facilities for them being illegal immigrants? Look what they about to do with you. Look what they doing with us. All together. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. That's an East Indian, an Elamite, a Bengali from India. Do you know what they're saying? What they're doing is they're creating a new minority, right? to rule over you just like they did in the Caribbean. Hello? Jamaica, Trinidad, the Bahamas, what else? Barbados, St. Lucia. They take them because they hate you so much that they want them to rule over you. Why would Trump put, what is his name, Kash Patel? Why would Trump put Kash Patel as director of the FBI? This guy has no history in that. He's Indian from India. What do you know about 7-Eleven? Gas stations? Cab companies? The hotels? Why would he be over the FBI? J.D. Vance, he doesn't like the urban societies and the things that's happening and how they conduct themselves and black people this and black people that and get rid of the Mexican illegal immigrants and all. His wife is from India. This man right here says peace. Hey, I got it. I guess they didn't, but I wasn't notified. But yeah, he good. Yeah, okay. Because of the heat, right? Okay, okay, all right. Um, okay. I'll bring them up there. Okay, but it is tomorrow. All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I'm in class. All right. All right. Thank you, brother. Peace. Listen to what this bastard said. Do you know India right now is in I want to say a war with America in the sense of engineering and education? Right now, right? Meaning they're sending their children to American private schools, colleges, to gain all this knowledge about engineering and different sciences, and they're going back to India to better their country in India. Or they're getting these high-paying jobs based off of their education base and sending the money back to India. And India is taking that money and putting it where? Is it putting that money in their urban development? No. India is nasty. They're not putting it to cleaning up their streets and their environment. They're not fixing or reforming their prison systems. You know what they're taking that money for? For their military, for their nuclear weapons. And he over here sentencing black men to life of servitude to the correctional facilities in America. And he's not even from here. That is insane. That is disgusting. He's saying this because you're being taught and thought. You are being taught to think that black men are just in prison so much. That's what you're being taught, but it's not true. There's been a decline on black men, blacks and Hispanics, incarceration. There's a decline on it. Okay. It's been going down. Our numbers of being incarcerated have been going down. You know what I credit that to? Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shah. I credit that to Commanding General Yohana and the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. That's what that is. We get brothers from those penitentiaries that don't come back, that don't go back. It's going down because we're taking them. We're taking them brothers. You got a vibrant prison program ran by Captain Zakar out of headquarters. Great program. Because you know what we do? We don't like all the other organizations. You don't come home to us and we get you some weed, buy you some sneakers. We don't do that in the ISUPK. You come in here, you come out of that prison cell, you come in here and you become a priest of the Most High God in the Spirit of Christ. You become totally new, a new man, a new creature. So what's happening is the ages, right? All the OGs is in there doing those football numbers, those big bids, those 15, 20, 30, 40 year bids. And they in there, what, 50 years of age? 60. And the prison industry is looking at that going, oh, hold up. Hold up. We can't just give out the death penalty. He's been in prison for 5 years and we just take his life. We can't do that no more. We got Uncle Odell who's been in here for 25 years, so he getting old. He can't work that machine no more like that. He can't sew like that no more. He can't pick that tobacco and cotton. When that hurricane come or the tornado come, I can't send this 65-year-old black man out there to put them sandbags over Kansas, to all the small towns in Kansas. I need some young ones. This is pretty. I see this, right? The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, officially ratified in 1865, permanently abolished slavery and involuntary servitude across the United States. However, this is the Constitution of America. This is in the Library of Congress. This is the U.S. Constitution, the 13th Amendment. Listen what it says. It says, however, it included a critical exception. Forced labor remains illegal as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. You convicted crime. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Why do you think it is so vast? And how many family members you have in black families that are incarcerated or that have been incarcerated? Do you think that's just by coincidence? It's by strategic design. In 1865, they passed this law to abolish slavery except as a punishment for crime, right? So in 1865, you know what would happen? Jaywalking. They would lock you up for jaywalking. They would lock you up for looking at a white girl. My grandmother used to get mad at me for whistling in the house. You know why? Because black men would get locked up for whistling. They would find any and everything to get you incarcerated. Lock you up so that you can go right back on that plantation and pick the cotton, pick that tobacco, swing that sledgehammer. Been working on the railroad all the day, long day. That's a slave song. That's a black man's anthem. What was his name? John Henry, slinging his sledgehammer, beating the machine. And he's slinging it, and little black boys is reading that because John Henry is black. Why is John Henry the only American fictitious hero? Paul Bundy is white, right? All these heroes is white. The Minutemen were white, right? But we had one. We had John Henry sling a hammer so fast and powerful. Woo! He was just big. You think Abraham Lincoln loved you so much. Abraham Lincoln in America. They loved you so much. No, they never freed the slaves. They never freed the slaves. It's called an NIL deal. Name, image, and likeness. They just switched it up. They just changed the wording around. That guy just said, I used to be a warden, and we can take him. Damn. We could utilize that. Sweat equity. Exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. They're going to throw you in that prison to make sure that you work for them. Do exactly what they want you to do. That was the key. That was the clip that went viral everywhere. All right. So with that, okay. It's strategic, right? What they say in Psalms, crafty counsel. Crafty counsel. You think that racism, because you look at us and you call us the Black Ku Klux Klan. So you think racism is just this poor white trash trailer park conception. So if it ain't poor white trash trailer park, you just automatically are going to just associate everything to that and not think that it is an intelligent system behind it. The two largest gangs in America. What are the two largest gangs in America? The Bloods and the Crips, right? So the Bloods and the Crips are two largest gangs in America. What are their colors? Why are the Bloods and the Crips red and blue? What are the Democrats and the Republicans? Red and blue. You don't think that was set up for strategically? It's all set up strategically for you to fail. So you shouldn't join the system because you're going to have, you coons are going to sit there and go, black people this and black people that. Watch this. Let me play this Jason Whitlock. You play this Jason Whitlock clip. Boy, he's something else, boy. Jason Whitlock is something else. He's something disgusting. Thought I sent it. Do you know there are groups and organizations that are still fighting for reparations? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, so called, right? It is outstandingly crazy. All right, y'all. I want y'all to hear this, right? Okay. Because you'll get W.E.B. Du Bois called it the talented 10th, right? W.E.B. Du Bois went to Harvard University and graduated from Harvard University, all right? W.E.B. Du Bois said that we should take 10, he was just 10% of our brightest, of our most intelligent, and send them off to these private schools or universities or these Ivy Leagues or around white America to be the image of what we are as Black people, and then to come back and to teach all other black people that this is how you are to be. W.E.B. Du Bois was wrong for that. Because what it instilled is what? What does that instill? You take your most intelligent and you put them into white schools or white corporations and white businesses. What does it do? Please.
So that those individuals can emulate or be like the white culture or counterpart.
All right, excellent. Right? They're going to try to be like their white counterparts. Okay? All right? Because it's already instilled in us when we're born, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that we live in a white society to where we got to do what? We got to try twice as hard. You got to look your best. Ooh, you going to them white folks, you better speak good. Wear that shirt and tie. Look good. Dress this way. You know how to do that. You know how to talk. I remember being told that as a child, as a teenager. You know how to talk. Meaning, you know how to talk to white people. You know how to talk like white people. You know how to emulate like them, to get a job, to get a place, to get acceptance. And then what happens after you're doing that? What happens?
You lose your own identity. You use your own.
You lose your you lose your own identity and your own culture, and then what happens? Then what happens?
You take on their spirit. You take on their personality.
You take on their spirit, their personality, and what do?
You deny your own.
You hate your own. Not only do you deny your own, you start to hate your own. So you get characters like Jason Whitlock, right? You got a couple dollars. I think he was an NFL football player. He got around all them white folks. And then he starts to hate his own. Right? Okay.
This is Black culture being brought to predominantly white universities, and everybody has to put up with this. This is supposed.
The first part of this clip was so unintelligent by Jason Whitlock. You saw the first part of the clip, right? The first part of the clip is a young black man graduating from college, right? And as he's going up to collect his degree, he's dancing. But what kind of dance is he doing?
This is black culture being brought to predominantly white universities, and
what kind of dance is that? Q, Alpha, Greek fraternities, black fraternities, black sorority, school, whoop, woo, woo, Delta, Alpha, Kappa, Sigma. You know, there was a Morris brother at the Malcolm X Day event. He was talking about the last journey to outer space. Wasn't it a brother on that journey, right? He said, shout out to my Sigma brother who was on that spaceship. That same brother said what? This isn't Black history. I don't want to identify as being Black. I'm an American. Didn't he say that? He's doing the Greek fraternity, meaning what? W.E.B. Du Bois, the talented 10th. You would go to Harvard, you would go to universities, and you know what you would say? How come I can't join the white boys fraternity? I want to join your fraternity, white boys. White girls, how come I can't join? Paper bag test. How come I can't join your fraternities? You know what? We'll just create our own Black fraternities, but what? Emulate white fraternities. He's a Greek. He wants to be a Greek. So what happens with them fraternities? What happens with Black fraternities on college? What do Black fraternities really do? What are they known for? Black fraternities and Black sororities, what are they known for? I went to Upward Bound, and Johnny Hill Marsh was the director of the program, and she was a Delta and always wore her Delta pin and the red and the white and the Delta this and the Delta that and this Delta and the Deltas. And I would meet this brother. He's a Q. He's an Alpha Omega from the Greek fraternity Wi-Fi Sci-Fi and Sigmas and Kookies and Dookies. What the hell do these niggas ever do? Not a goddamn thing. You know what them niggas do? They can dance in the park. They're having sex with everybody. The fraternities and the sororities, they're foul and disgusting. Why? Because they want to be white. This nigga, this coon right here is going, look at this. And he's not going, that Black man wants to be Greek. He's doing a Q-dog shuffle.
this is Black culture being brought to predominantly white universities, and everybody has to put up with this. This is supposed.
Jason Whitlock is saying this is Black culture. And everybody got to put up with this. Let's stop acting like that for these good white folks. Why? Black people are only, great word, emulating white people. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B gets on stage and they kiss each other. And they're both in lingerie and they rub up on each other. They're only doing what white women. Madonna was doing that in the 80s. Am I right? White women been doing it forever. We're emulating you. We're emulating white people. Jason Whitlock does not understand because he hates his own people so much, and white people hate us so much that we'll emulate them. White people are so mad at us for saying nigger. Why? A white person asked me this over the winter. He said, "Well, why can you say the N-word, but I can't?" I said, "You say the N-word. You don't say the N-word?" He laughed. I said, "I know you say the N-word. You're not going to say it now, but in your home, don't you say the N-word?" He said, "Yeah, I say the N-word." You mad at us for saying the N-word that you've been saying for 500 years? You've been saying it. We're emulating you, right? All these black women rappers and Hispanic women rappers, all they're doing is emulating Madonna. All these rappers, what is it called? It's called sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Rap music, hip hop, just emulating rock and roll. The sagging of the pants, that's rock and roll. The skinny jeans on and the shredded up clothes and all that. Prince, Rick James, and Michael Jackson was just looking like rock and roll, weren't they? Weren't they just looking like rock and roll? All they was doing was emulating rock and roll. White people. Jason Whitlock. Black people who don't like black people, and y'all constantly on black people. I'm not saying that we shouldn't hold ourselves accountable and do right, but you should let the ISUPK rule. You should let us have complete authority. Jason Whitlock, you have no authority because you love white people. So you shouldn't be mad at black people emulating white people. You mad at rap music and hip hop and black culture that's about guns and violence? The Italians and the Irish, the Jewish, they didn't have mafias or mobsters. There's a guy at my job who was suspended for a year and a half because of all the under the table deals, and it never got out. And you mad at a black guy that steals the toilet paper out the bathroom? You come to work 5 minutes late and you tell your boss you was on time. You know what they call that? Stealing time. Sheriffs and cops, what do they say? Oh yeah, I worked 25 hours of overtime at the bus hub. 50 hours at the fair. Overtime. That's the oldest trick in the book. Don't they all do it? You are just emulating their culture. Black people, this is your culture. Little Kim continued to honor who? Madonna. Biggie said, Little Kim, blonde hair like Madonna, Madonna style. All the black hoes have a picture in they whole house of Marilyn Monroe.
Supposed to be our best and brightest. It's prom night. This is the greatest accomplishment. It's not graduation night. It's not I'm going to college night. It's prom night. You choose the wrong culture, and there's a damn good chance
I'm not in agreement with it, right? But you're looking at a people. Imagine that child, right? Remember what I first said at the beginning of class about the child in McDonald's. You turn to the child and you say, "Do you have McDonald's money?" No. Imagine that child shoveling snow or mowing lawns. That child gets $40 for shoveling snow or mowing lawns, right? Imagine that child selling candy bars or cookies from door to door. He or she gets $40. Where the first place that child gonna go to eat? Where that child gonna go to eat with that $40? Because all you heard, you got McDonald's money? Now I got money. Yeah, I got McDonald's money. You take a slave people who are enslaved. You take a people who you forced to be slaves, who you forced to live in poverty, who you forced to systematically oppress, who you forced to do 40 years of sweat equity in prisons. You take them slaves and give them a couple of dollars. Will they know? You mad at the slave? I'm not saying that it's right, but I have an understanding of, damn, you mad at the slave, Jason? You mad at the child that doesn't know? Are you even mad at the parent that you got working 10, 12-hour shifts just to make ends meet? Hello? You mad at him. Look at him. Look at him. Look at it. This ain't black culture. You ain't going to college. This is the prom. You know what? Jason Whitlock, you know black people couldn't go to prom. We didn't have the prom. You do know that, Jason Whitlock. Do you know we were excluded from having proms? That is why in major urban cities, black cities, they would have rec centers and have what? A dance night. You know where that comes from? Because we couldn't go to prom. He's not going to talk about that though, is he? He won't talk about that we were kicked out and told, no, nigga, you can't have no prom. Remember we would get in the swimming pool? And the white community would come with what? Acid and bleach and what else? Lie and throw it in the pool? Say, get out the pool. We couldn't even swim during nigger hours. It was nigger hours at the pool. So when we finally go to a prom, you mad at us because do white people have a prom culture? Hell yeah, they got a prom culture. I went to an all-white school. And do you know what I saw at the prom? When I went to my prom, the teachers and the administration cried. They cried. They came up to me and hugged my neck. Because I sat in the prom with my prom day, damn near by myself. You know why? Because all your white children, all your disgusting, bastardly, demonic, devil-ass white babies with the big watermelon heads that they got were alcoholic, drug addict drunks. It was at the Sheridan Hotel at Syracuse University. The limousines would pull up and they would get out vomiting all over each other. Where that's at, Jason Whitlock? Why can't we see them videos? Why you ain't talking about that, nigga? They wouldn't even come to prom because they was having sex in the limousines behind the stages. Call it hooking up. All of your daughters, white men, all your daughters is hoes. White moms, your sons are disgusting. They grape white girls at the school and toss them around and get rid of them. That's the culture, isn't it? So when our music is shake that ass, bitch, shake that ass, bitch, shake that ass, bitch, we're emulating your culture. We're trying to be like you because it is so American. It is American.
Brightest. It's prom night. This is the greatest accomplishment. It's not graduation night. It's not I'm going to college night. It's prom night. You choose the wrong culture, and there's a damn good chance you're.
He said it. You choose the wrong culture. What's the wrong culture? Us being like white people.
You're going to end up in jail or dead.
What was that movie back in the 70s? Corky's Revenge? Every horror movie was that. Corky's Revenge. Every horror movie with Jason and Freddy was your white teenagers going out to Crystal Lake to have sex and to get drunk in the party. Isn't that the culture? That's every horror movie. Isn't that every horror movie directed by white people? Because they're telling you their culture. Prom night. What's the famous movie? Bloody Mary? Right? Prom night. Put her on stage and dump pig's blood all over everybody on the stage. And when she goes in the shower to wash it off, have the football team run in the shower. White culture is disgusting. That's the culture you're choosing.
This is the culture that we have chosen, and we celebrate, and we normalize, and we're afraid to criticize.
He a little effeminate, ain't he? He got a little feminine bop to him. America loves a gay black man. Don't you? Oh, Jason, you mad because he got money in his hand. Oh, because niggas can't have no money.
We have chosen, and we celebrate, and we normalize, and we're afraid to criticize because we don't want to be thrown out of the black club. We've built it.
Nigga, you been out the black club. And he's so disgusting that he puts Jasmine Crockett in the video. He put Jasmine Crockett in the video and said, we don't want to get thrown out the black club. Nigga, you ain't in the black club. What is you talking about? When have you ever been in the black club? And you put the sister there. She not twerking. She ain't throwing money around.
This system, it's illegal to give young black people good advice. We need more outraged black people speaking publicly.
This nigga just said, we need more enraged black people speaking publicly. Jason Whitlock, you need to give me a call. You need to give me a call because I'm going to direct you to Commanding General Yohana in the ISUPK, who are enraged black men who speak where? Publicly. Why we ain't in your video? Jason, why you ain't interviewing us or talking to us, Jason? Whitlock, how come you ain't put us in the video? Why don't you put us in the video as black culture? Them Hebrew Israelites. Aren't we enraged in speaking publicly in every city, every town, every corner?
If If you've been bullied into silence, you're worthless. If you don't have a pair of balls, you're not a man. You're something else. This is black culture.
And that's insane. Insane. All right. And with that, Israel, shalom.